attending today's webinar, where our senior specialist teachers, Gladys, Janitha and Amira, will be sharing on the topic of the importance of executive functioning in preparing our preschoolers to successfully transition into primary school. And like, what an important topic this is. It's such a big move when they go from little school to big school. So let's get started today. Gladys is a senior specialist teacher and has been working with children since 1986, supporting students for over 3 decades, firstly as a reading mother, then a shadow teacher in international schools, a homeroom teacher in kindergartens, both in Hong Kong and Singapore. And through her experience of hands-on approach to learning, she currently supports students for one-to-one specialist tutoring at DAS International. Janitha joined DAS in 2001, and she is also a senior educational therapist and a senior specialist tutor with DAS International. She has a wealth of experience and knowledge to help students that learn differently from different ages and different backgrounds. And she strongly believes that there is a hope for success in anything that they want to do. And she instills this hope in her students. Hope, she says, is the bearer of positive results. And when that happens, there is boundless joy. And Amira is an educational therapist with DAS and a senior specialist tutor at DAS International. She specializes in math and English for both group and one-to-one settings, and believes that either the environment, rapport with the students that is key to unlocking the magic of learning according to their specific needs. And finally, Anna is also with us today. She's the head of DAS International. Anna has a wealth of experience in providing support for students with learning differences. And Anna, as head of DAS International, aims to provide a professional service to the SPLD community, both in Singapore and the region. Anna, over to you.
Thank you, everyone, for today. Good afternoon, everyone, for joining us today and taking time out of your lunch. Hope you all have time to eat. Firstly, I'd like to thank my specialist teachers here with me today, Janitha, Gladys, Amira, for taking the time, to put this webinar together. I really appreciate it. And for Deborah for being my co-host. The importance of executive functioning in preparing our preschoolers to successfully transition into primary school is, we felt, what could we share? And we felt this would be a very relevant topic, especially if you have students under your charge or you're a parent with a preschooler transitioning already in primary 1. I think this is a very useful webinar. This webinar will highlight, the significance of executive functioning. It's a topic that's been around. It's now the current topic. Because we find executive functioning skills are really, really important, essential for our children to successfully navigate the demands of school and social situations. So we can actually show them strategies, yeah? But then many preschoolers, they struggle with tasks that require planning, self-control, organization. These are some of the issues that our parents share with us. So today, our really experienced panelists, they will share practical tips and for all of you to support the development of executive functioning skills. The key highlights would be memory. Some of the topics they will be touching on. We selected memory, sustaining attention, control impulse, and building life skills. We felt these were like the cornerstones. So Amira will start the sharing, and our other panelists, Gladys and Janitha, will also input as we're going along. Over to you, Amira, and do enjoy the session, everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Anna, for the introduction, and Deborah as well. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us and spending your break with us. I hope that whatever that we have to share for today will benefit you as in your profession, or for your children, or even just to learn for your own knowledge. So I will quickly just share. As mentioned, this is the topic for today, the importance of executive functioning in preschoolers. Firstly, I do have a question for all of you here today. So if you think about it, when was the last time you misplaced your keys, wallet, or glasses? For me as a teacher, you know, when we are around the classroom, I sometimes carry my pen around me, and unknowingly, if I go in or out the classroom or walk around the classroom, I would leave it somewhere it's not supposed to be. And then the next thing I do is ask my student, where did I leave my red pen, for example? Or what about losing track of time until you miss your deadlines? Or are your work desk neat right now? So these are all tasks that require executive function. And what I'm trying to say that all of us have varying degrees of executive function when we are doing our normal tasks or everyday routine. And if you start to learn more about executive functioning of children, especially if they struggle in some of them, you might seem to recall back then when you were a kid yourself, you probably have some, to a degree, some struggles in those areas as well. But when does it become a real concern for them? That's when actually the child's ability to learn and develop is affected in the at that moment or in the long run. So in today's sharing, we will focus on some aspects of EF that a preschooler is still developing, and discuss how they are essential during the transition to primary school. All right, so for first up, I do actually want to get to know a little bit about you, those who are listening and tuning in right now. So can you just do me a quick favor? Just type in your the chat. Type in the chat. What's your profile? Let me know. Are you a parent? Are you a teacher? Or are you just here to know more about EF and know more about how you can help children? Okay. So can I have a few responses? So I just see who we have in the chat right now. All right. And also, I would like to know, what are your biggest worry, concern, or target for your child's development? Can be your child, can be your student, can be your charge. Okay, Kairunisa is a preschool educator. Okay, so first off, I will actually show you a quick video about a kids baking championship. While watching, I would like you to pay attention to what kind of skills that this particular boy here are actually using, and what kind of skills are needed while he is going through the competition itself. So let me show you the video. Let me know if you can hear. Hopefully you can hear well.
Baker's icing game. I'm making a tart with Bavarian cream and blueberry lattice pie. Blueberries. Need some blueberries. I've made both of these baked items many times, and I know that people love them. Blueberries. For my blueberry lattice pie, I'm going to make the filling first. The next thing I have to do is make my dough. This pie dough is so not nice.
Those labs look really thick.
Looks very frustrating. I'm looking over at everybody, and all their stuff is in the oven, and I'm still on my dough. This is not working. I need to get this stuff in the oven. This is really slowing me down. Oh, no. It looks like a mess. When you watch Food Network, you think it looks easy, but when you're experiencing it, you think this is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. The ones I make at home are way better. I'm under so much pressure. I got time. It looks very bad. I take my blueberry pie out of the oven and it doesn't look very neat. it looks kind of messy. I feel like I'm in a disaster. I'm hoping the judges can ignore that. Yes, for my peanut butter and jelly. First, I finally decide to make peanut butter cookies with just a jelly topping because I'm running out of time. That's done. I got time.
All right, so Anthony, tell us what you made today.
I made a blueberry lattice pie and a tart with chocolate mousse and a raspberry garnish and peanut butter cookies with jelly on them. Go with the pie first.
Go with pie first. The lattice itself.
All right. Let me get back to the slides. I hope you got to catch some of the things that was happening in the video. A few things was happening while he was preparing his pastries. And this is a good example because he's in the age group, around the age group that we're discussing right now. So yes, I have a question for all of you now. The chat is enabled. Thank you, Deborah. All right, so if you try, you'll be able to type something now. All right, so can we have some responses? What do you think some of the skills that are needed for him to efficiently go through this contest, to to make whatever that he's making, the pastries that he's making? What are the things that he shows that he has? I saw that Lidwina and Kairinisa typed something in the Q&A. Thank you so much. Okay, so I have some here. Planning his menu, keeping track of time, managing stress, organization. Good. Changing of plans as necessary. Good. And sequential of activities and persevering. Very good, very good. I'm glad that you caught all of that. So what else? Let's see. Organizing and sequencing, flexibility. Yes, flexibility is the changing of plans, like as mentioned by Emma. Thank you. Problem solving as well when something comes up. All right, thank you. Good. Very sharp eyes, multitasking. Exactly. So I know that probably a lot of you here are bakers yourself or cooks yourself. So you can relate to what's happening right here. And especially with a young mind like his, a lot of things that he needs to juggle at once. Thank you for your responses. So in a nutshell, planning, he has to plan what he's going to do, the different steps that he has in the baking of the pastry. He has to plan what needs to be done first. He needs to plan what can be done concurrently. So that's all under this skill. Memory, definitely. I don't know about you, but I still would need to look at the recipe, but it doesn't seem that he needs the recipe in front of him. So that means he memorized it. He memorized it, committed it to memory. And time management. A lot of things, baking especially, is time sensitive, so he needs to be on the ball with it. Emotional control. I think a lot of it was was mentioned in the chat just now. If something goes wrong, how will he respond to it? Is he going to freak out or is he going to keep calm? And flexibility, it was also mentioned in the chat and in the video as well. If you caught it, it was just one part where he mentioned that he had to change up his recipe. Instead of using certain ingredients, he maybe simplified it. So when things don't go as planned, the adaptation is needed. So the ability to adapt, the ability to switch things up is also an executive functioning skill. So this is a very good example of EF working in him, right? So imagine if he has poor EF in one or a few of these. For example, if he cannot be flexible, it might affect his emotions as well, right? And then it will affect his time. He will not have enough time to finish in the end. Or if he forgets something, everything will be ruined, right? So all of this also help in concurrently help to support one another concurrently. So having mentioned EF so many times, the definition is basically all the set of cognitive processes, some that was mentioned already in the previous slide, that are involved to do something. So it manages your physical surrounding, and it manages your insight, your inward self, to be able to carry out whatever task that is expected of you. Okay, so that is executive functioning, and it's developed in us since young. All right. So as mentioned by Anna, we are going to focus on 4 cornerstones, which are working memory, sustaining attention, self-control, or what we were going to refer to it as impulse control. All right. And building life skills through organizations and so on. Okay, so I will talk a bit about the 4 later on, but I'm going to also discuss a little bit about each of the others. Okay, so that you get an idea how it's being used in children. All right, so the first one, let's talk about metacognition. As you can see, the picture here is about the mind, the brain. So metacognition in children is the ability for them to be aware of their own thoughts and aware of their own opinions. So you know that they have pretty good metacognition when they are able to express that, starting with I think ... I know that ... So they are expressing what they are thinking, therefore being aware of their thoughts. Then the next one is task initiation. Task initiation is important, and it varies a little bit from preschool to primary school, because when in a primary school setting, it has a bigger class size. Yeah, it has a bigger class size. So the students are kind of expected to be able to be independent a little bit. So when the tasks or homework are given, they are expected to just do it and focus on it. So with poor task initiation, it will be very difficult for them to focus. And how about we have flexibility, just like what we saw in the video. Without flexibility, they might be anxious. Okay, they might feel anxious about about the things that's going around them. The next one is time management. Time management is very important in a student because they have a lot more tasks to do. Okay, so specifically preschool to primary school, they will definitely have more homework or more expectations on them. Not just academic skills, but as well as their self organization. How much time do they need to finish their lunch? How much time do they need to finish, their break before they go to sleep? Things like that. Okay. And perseverance. Okay. Especially going into a whole new school setting, they might be faced with more challenges. So persevering through difficulties, through difficult tasks and learning tasks, learning objectives, is definitely important for them to push on and continue to learn. And like I said, not just academic, it can be routine, home routine. If they are learning to tie their shoelaces, and they keep failing, perseverance would help them to keep trying. Without it, they will just melt down or they will just give up. All right, so let's go into the 4 cornerstones that we highlighted. We are going to talk more about the sustaining attention of a preschooler. Okay, so a preschooler, what does it look like when they have a sustained attention? They would be able to listen to the teacher while the teacher is talking. Okay, so imagine all the students in front of the teacher and they're face forward looking at the teacher. That's the ideal. They are able to work on tasks at their respective tables, okay, without moving off or without looking around, without talking to their students, to their classmates. Okay, so poor attention would look like this. They will be distracted by external stimuli. If someone's walking past or something drops onto the floor, they will be easily distracted and lose focus. Okay, next one is sustained working memory. So as a student in an academic setting, they are able to, this EF is helps them to hold and manipulate information in their mind. So they will be able to learn and apply it very quickly. All right. And at that age, they are given multi-step instructions. For example, go and get your color pencils and give it to Sondra and come back. You know, multi-step instructions. Okay, so those who struggle with this, they might forget one instruction and they will do something else. Yeah, so following multi-step instructions is also a skill. And they, yeah, exactly what the example that I gave you, they have to remember and execute them in the correct order. So did they go to Sondra first or did they get the color pencils first? So that skill is very important so that they can follow correctly, and also recalling information. Okay, struggling with it will look like this: forgetting what was learned and unable to follow through instructions. So if they forget what was learned every week, their teacher will have to repeat over and over, you know, a few times. So that wouldn't be efficient enough. Okay, so the third one is the self-control, which is the controlling impulse. As we know, kids, right? Kids, they very reactive. Yeah, but like I said, EF is different degrees of EF that all of us have. So ideally, they are able to inhibit impulsive behavior. For example, if somebody accidentally brushes them or like, you know, runs and hits them, are they going to slap that person? You know, that's an impulsive behavior. Like how well are they able to inhibit those kind of responses? And in preschool, they have waiting their turn. So they are taught to wait for their turn in circle time and such. So poor EF or poor self-control will lead to interrupting others. For example, teacher is talking, and then the child wants to ask something. He asks in the middle of the teaching. So that's not ideal. And grabbing objects is quite common as well. They, you know, grab it from their peers, and this is all because of you know, they think something, they want to do something, and they just act upon it without slowing down, without thinking about it. Okay, the fourth one that we're going to talk about is got to do with the building of skills, life skills, through organization, for example. So the fact that they can arrange information, their physical surroundings, their tasks given. So how well do they plan them out? How well do they maintain their things or maintain their surroundings? Okay, so something that is difficult, they might be able to break them down into simpler tasks. Yeah, and also to plan and prioritize their homework, for example, or plan and prioritize things that they were asked to do. What's the first thing that is important? What's the most important thing to do? So these are all the ideal. And those who struggle with organization would definitely appear disorganized with things and time. Maybe if you look into their bag, their worksheets might be all over the place, or they might not realize how much time is left for their homework, and also forgetting or losing their things all the time. Okay. All right, so I have briefly covered the 4 cornerstones of EF. I would like to pass it on to Gladys. I think the next one is Gladys, who will talk more about strengthening of the memory. Thank you.
just hold on a sec. Oh, hold on a second.
Okay, sure.
All right now. Okay. A warm welcome to my DAS colleagues and viewers of our Spotlight presentation. I'm Gladys, and I have the privilege to look after my two daughters since birth to school age, during which I also worked in Hong Kong kindergarten and that accepts toddlers as early as 18 months. After that, I'm in Singapore. I worked with Montessori, Bukit Arang, and DAS preschool, so it's a good 14 years in the field. Today, I will talk about memory. Memory is a crucial aspect of early childhood education, as it lays the foundation for future learning and development. Young children have a unique way of processing and retaining information, and it is our job as educators, parents, to help build this memory skills. One of the most effective ways to improve memory in the kindergarten age child is through repetition and review. By repeating information and reviewing it regularly, children are better able to retain it in their long-term memory. Another strategy, which is good, is to use association and visualization, which involves connecting new information to something that the child already knows and creating a mental image to help them remember. Finally, active engagement and participation can also help improve memory, as it encourages the child to react and interact with information and to make connections to their own experiences. Let's look at some of the activities you can work in the comforts of your home. Thank you, Mira. This dinosaur slide. This is a one-step instruction. Write letter D on the dinosaur. I'm sure there will be no confusion for most children. Now let's look at the activity with multiple instructions. Amira, the picture on that face, the next, that's right, that's the one. So Amira, can you use your cursor to follow my instructions? Yeah, I will use picture 6. Give long hair, long black hair. Amira, please take your cursor. Is there a cursor there?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. Okay, I'll start again. All right, Amira, please take your cursor. Place it between the eyes without drawing a line. Move it to the top of the circle. Oh, without drawing a line, Amira. You may have, shall I start again?
I don't think you can see my cursor, that's why. Can you see my cursor? Yeah.
Okay, let's try again. Amira,
Yeah.
please take your cursor. Place it between the eyes without drawing a line. Move it to the top of the circle.
Okay.
It's done, right? Okay. Follow the shape of the circle on the left. Stop at the eyes. Then draw a straight line downwards to the bottom of the box. Draw a straight line. Fantastic, very good. You have drawn the first long hair. Now you will need to draw a second long hair. So Amira, please place the cursor at the start of the hair. Draw a second long hair.
Oh,
The start of
another
the
one.
hair. Yeah, another one. Well done, Amira. Can you do 4 more long hairs on your own?
I'll try.
Done already, huh? Well done, Amira. You have completed the long hair on the left side of the face. Now you can repeat the same for the right side of the face. Going, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and the last one. That's done. Okay, well done. You did a great job, Amira. Great job. So as you can see, this activity is complex. Hence, you need to adjust them according to the child's ability. Thank you for listening. Now I'd like to hand over to my colleague Janita, who will give you some insights on controlling impulse. Janita, please.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session of Spotlight. And a warm welcome to my colleagues as well as all of you present here from the outside world. Welcome. So today I'm going to talk about controlling impulse. As we know, we humans, we are all impulsive, right? We all have impulses. Adults, all the more. So sometimes there is regret and at the other times there's none. So what is impulse? Impulse is a strong and unreflective urge or desire to act. You know, if I say I bought an expensive dress on an impulse, will I even think about anything else? Like, I want to, will it suit me? Is it cheap enough for me to buy? Nothing. We don't think anything, right? So we just go dive in and we buy. But as adults, we can always say, okay, it's a one-time thing. Next time, don't do it. But with children, it is a different ballgame, especially with preschool children. So teachers play a small role in building mental skills or EF, but impulse control is part of all the skills that make up in EF. The role of the parents is a major one. So whatever we can do, we usually work with the parents, give them some suggestions or tips. Usually the young parents are not very, I would say it's young. I would say parents are busy, so they are not able to, teach them these skills. So at this point, like in this picture, you can see this boy, he's just throwing a ball. You know, it's just an impulsive thing. He says, hey, let me throw the ball and see. He's got a curious mind and he wants to see, hey, what's that guy going to do? You know, that kind of thing. They just throw it at you and then watch the fun. But they don't realize the other side of the impact. What is it? What is the person going to feel, you know? And the other kids might just laugh at what he has done. And they also don't know. And it's the same with a young child, a preschooler. You know, you leave a pair of scissors lying around and say, hey, this is nice for cutting, let me cut. Sometimes might cut mommy's hair as well when mommy's sleeping. Or she might just go and cut her hair. And I know so many instances when this has happened. So at this point, I want to tell you about an active student that I had. You know, it's just a tip that I'm sharing on how we can manage, impulsive students in our class. I had this very active student in class who would disrupt lessons whenever he had the so-called urge. During the time when he was supposed to sit down in one place and do his worksheet, he would suddenly get up and walk around, go to his friend, and either he'll be talking or he wants to distract that child. And then everybody else is distracted. So I wasn't able to get on with my work. You know, I've got a lesson plan created and I'm not able to do it. So after monitoring him for a few lessons, I decided, oh no, I have to really do something about it. So what I did was I gave him a nice shiny red card like this, like you see in the picture. And this card, I mean, he was, okay, you need to observe your student, what will work with him. So this boy is very reward oriented. So I decided to leverage on that. And I said, okay, I gave him this card and I said, this card is 50 points, okay? This red card. So if you're a good boy, I will take away the 50. I'll take away the card and reward you with a blue card, which is also 50 points. But on the other hand, if you're not, you walk around once, twice, 3 times, or even once, then the red card stays on with you and you don't get it. So the 50 points is very important for him to boost his total score. So he actually kind of slowly mellowed down and he would sit down and finish that worksheet, although he has an impulse to get up, but he doesn't do it. So he could just, he wanted to change the red card for the points. So the points could be anything from 5 to 10 or to 20. And sometimes when I feel I have to make it really, really important, I make it 50 points. So as time went on, we changed the mechanics of the card to enhance the EF and other skills of EF. So that is one way you can do as a teacher. As a parent, there are so many other things. There's a lot of websites available that you can go in and check on. So I just wanted to share as a teacher how I do this. So I want to now hand it over to Gladys again. Gladys, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Janita. As we all know, young children have short attention spans. Right? The general rule is 4 minutes for 2-year-old and 10 to 15 minutes for 5-year-olds. Sorry. Hence, it can be challenging to keep them engaged in activities. However, there are some strategies that can help sustain their attention. Creating a structured and predictable environment is one way to help sustain attention. Children thrived on routine and predictability, and have a consistent schedule and clear expectations can help them stay focused. Visual aids and hands-on activities are also effective in sustaining attention as they provide a sensory experience that engages multiple senses and keeps children interested. Finally, incorporating movement and sensory experiences can help sustain attention as it allows children to choose and release and engage in physical activities, which still allows them to learn. Some favorite activities I would recommend, like reading aloud stories. A fun way to start story time in a classroom situation is to use classical music for children as a cue to get them ready. Amira, can we, yeah. Is it possible to click onto the classical music?
I'll try it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an example of the classical music for cues. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the cue the children, you know, that
Can you hear anything?
no, didn't work. Okay, anyway, this is the a very good site if you can go into a website that you can look at. And I think it's also very helpful because you know how the activity in the day is like, and you know, they're all hyped or tired or something. So to cue this music, which relaxes them. And I think string instruments are really the best ones, you know, to help children relax and get into the mode so that when you're actually reading something, they know, right? So it's a repetition, it's a cue for them to know that this activity is starting. I also find using sound effects during story time a great and fun way to capture the child's attention. For example, if you're talking about raining, can we also try this one? Does it work? Amira, does this rain sound work? Well, that's the website that you can go into, and there are lots of free, you know, not just rain, but even animal sounds and soothing music. Yeah, this is the website I'm talking about. Ooh, you got it, but no sound, huh? Anyway,
Okay.
that's basically all the websites that you can pick up if you want to add some, you know,
YouTube.
differences to your story. I found also inserting animal and wild animal sounds during story time a great help because our local children may not be aware or have ever seen a cockerel. So it will be a wonderful surprise. You can have this, no matter how you do it, it won't sound the same. But I think using one of this website, so you know, and it's very interesting because if you put in,
Can I think only some YouTube videos are able to play.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. You know, I'm trying to say that, you know, if you
Yeah.
actually have them, I find that they are a bit more engaged, and in fact, they're much more interested, you know, and you find that they will even ask you more about it. They'll be very curious. Right. So with all these variations in story time, I'm very sure the children will always look forward to them, you know, and you will definitely get their attention and all the, how shall I say, participation. Okay. Now, to end up, I also think it's a very good idea to check if the children can recall and retell the stories that they have heard. So by simply using a storyboard, the young children can draw. Is there a story? That's it. On the left, it's for the very young children where they just draw. And of course, the other two are for K2s, if they can write their own interpretations. Yeah. That is also very engaging. And I'm sure you will not have any resistance at all from the children. Right. I would also recommend games and activities like puzzles, maze, snake ladder, Lego, matching games to liven up your learning. For classroom settings, I think listening games, songs like musical statues, What is the Time, Mr. Wolf, I Spy, Duck, Duck, Goose are strongly encouraged. And lastly, you can have colorful and child-friendly worksheets easily available from Google that can complement and enhance your child's attention. For example, the dinosaur, and I think there's a socks, matching socks. And lastly, aliens. Is the aliens?
Sorry, I don't have aliens.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry, maybe you
Anyway,
can look that up.
all these can be obtained in the link that Amira, you've attached, right, onto this seminar. Yeah, it's available there, and you can have a look and check and have fun with it. So I hope these are all useful, and I think the most important is to make sure that you have fun with the child. Yeah. So as educators and parents, it is our responsibility to provide the tools and resources necessary for young children to succeed in their learning and development. Thank you. It's now time for me to hand over to Janita to present another topic. I think it's building life skills?
Yes, thank you, Gladys. Thank you so much. So I'm back again with building life skills. We all are learning all sorts of new skills as the time goes on. Like for adults like us, it's always technology, skills in technology and upgrading and stuff. But what about the kids? What about children who are very young? And mostly I think parents would say, oh, they're too small. No, I must do this for him. Oh, it's like that. Oh, it's like this. But you would be amazed if you would only show it to him and make him feel important, that he can learn these skills, is when you will see that the child is so interested in doing something. It's just you have to initiate. And not only that, you have to model. You have to be his or her life model, so in building skills. So as early as 3 years, maybe simple things like if toys are on the bed, like, okay, 3-year-old, clear your toys, get up, or maybe fluff up the pillow. Both of you can fluff it up and then settle it on the bed, and then clear the toys, help the child to clear, and then later he can do it himself. And then as he grows older, you can also have him to take a shower on his own and dress himself. In fact, you can say when he's about 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, he can say, okay, what do you want to wear today? Okay, where are we going today? So according to that, he can dress up. He can say, Mommy, I want to wear this. I still remember my son when he was young. He used to have this yellow T-shirt and the yellow shorts for some football team. I forgot which one. Brazil, yes, Brazil. And day in and day out, he wanted to wear that. And then I decided no more. I am going to hide that shorts and the T-shirt, and I hid it, and he forgot all about it. So it's things like that. If the child sees it, then he wants it. If it doesn't, you can just bring him back and say, okay, today we will wear or whatever you want to do. So what are the skills that you can teach your child? So Amira, my colleague, has already gone into the different stages of different parts of building life skills. So one of them is planning. Like, for example, planning the day's activities. So now June holidays are coming up. This is the best time as parents to do it. Yeah, so you can start with okay, you can ask him. Our visual prompts are very good. So maybe on the ball, you can say what is the first thing he has to do, second thing, third thing. So, the activities increase as he grows older. So when he's 3-year-old, what can your child, how much your child can do. So according to that, you can do. As teachers, we have it set up on the wall, so if you're a kindergarten teacher, or even primary 1 teacher, we actually for MLP, we have what are we going to do for today? So what's the first thing we are going to do? We're going to do mindfulness, and then we're going to do the new concept, and then we are going to do a review. So, you know, it's all planned. The lesson is all planned. So that is planning. So planning can happen from anywhere from making the bed, bathing, dressing, meals, commuting, outings, and so on and so forth, and through a checklist, a visual checklist, all the more better. The second one is breaking away from the use of gadgets. I think nowadays parents like to give the children gadgets, right, to keep them calm, keep them engaged. Just the other day, I went out for lunch after church, and I saw my very active P2 boy. He and his whole family, they came to have lunch. They were sitting at the next table. Of course, he didn't see me, but I thought, as usual, parents would leave their active children home and bring only the others out. So I was very happy to see him, but he didn't see me. Know why he didn't see me? He had his phone with him. The mother had given him, and he was busy playing a game. All throughout, he was so well behaved because his eyes never took off from his phone. Even to move the seats, you know, he was still looking at it, and they say, okay, Ben, okay, names changed. Huh? Ben, come here and sit, you know, let so-and-so sit here. So he would be still looking at the phone. And then later when I went up to him, he was so excited. He said, Miss Jen. Then I saw him, you know, the real him, you know, how he is in school, in class. So you see, parents use a lot of gadgets to cultivate, I mean, they have to take them away from the gadgets to cultivate focus. Of course, when they have the gadgets, they're so focused, 150% focus. But when they don't have the gadget, they have supposed to do things, they may not have that much of focus because the EF is all over the place, you see. So how do you do this? Cooking as a family, like you saw in the video. He must have done it with his parents. So he's gone for that, probably a competition. And he did quite well, I would say. Not a bad thing at all. So he's kind of improved in his different areas of executive functions. So this is something you can do: baking, gardening, reading, folding clothes. So folding clothes, how to do it. I saw a video the other day. It was, I don't know where, maybe it's from China, but they had a cardboard box where the child would put the t-shirt on it, and then both sides, left and right, will fold, 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 fold. But I would not suggest that. You teach a child how to fold it or normal traditional way, and that would build up his fine motor skills as well, because he will know how to fold it, how it looks good, how to press it down, and you know, so many skills are involved in it. So besides building focus, you also build the fine motor skills. The next thing that is so apparent in children who are so active is managing emotions such as anger, like you saw earlier in the slide about this boy. He threw it out of fun, the ball, at somebody, random person, and he wanted to see the reaction from everybody, from his peers, laughing. He felt great about it. So in the same way, for anger too, he could do that. Somebody pushes him, he would just go back and push that person. Frustration, cannot do work, might just throw a chair. You are hearing it from the horse's mouth, because I've had kids like that. I've had students like that. And how do I manage this? Is just be calm. Be calm and tell them that, okay, when you're done, when you're finished with whatever you're doing now, whether it's, you know, he could have just thrown a chair. So you come back to me. I'm waiting for you, calmly. And then this is how you model, even as parents, you know. It's not a way of doing, say, the child is angry and frustrated and you do the same thing, you shout at him. You know, everything is about modeling, you know. So if you're going to shout back at him, he's going to grow up like that. He's going to grow up shouting. So how do you manage this? Is being calm. Ask them slowly when at home, from the home scene to the outside world, walk away from such situations. Avoid unpleasant conditions. You know, just walk away, or you need to tell the teacher, report it to the teacher, go ahead and report, or tell somebody how you're feeling. Get them to speak. Okay, so at home, you can do the mindfulness, as in breathing. I think in the DAS classrooms, we always have this breathing techniques for children. And we do this so that they feel good after that, you know, when as they breathe in, ask them to visualize about, that they are actually taking in the good, positive energy around them. And as they breathe out, they are actually getting rid of all those things. So that's how you can manage their emotions. And at the same time, it's not the negative, it's also the happy ones too. When they're really happy, they might just go and do something that turns out terribly. So managing emotions, both positive and negative, should have a balance in how you do that. And then the other thing is, again, being aware of people around you. It comes to social skills, how they live, what they do, being respectful to them. If they see as teachers or as parents that you are not, what shall I say, reacting to them in the right way, and they're going to follow you because you remember you are the models. They're going to imitate you, and they're going to shout back at persons or be rude to somebody. So if they watch their parents being nice or kind or respectful to the older people, even at home, to your parents-in-law, to your parents, then the children are also going to be like them. So being respectful. So it's again about mindfulness, mindful about how you are towards the people around you. And the last but not least is to teach them to be flexible. Flexibility is very important. So you don't get something, it's okay. You need to work hard. You need to earn it in the right way. So it's okay if, suppose I had promised you that I'll take you to the zoo tomorrow, and then your child says, well, I want to go to the zoo. I want to go to the zoo. You promise. So how do we do that? We just have to tell them, okay, it's okay. All right. Mommy has to do something very important. So what I'll do is, where else do you want to go? You ask him. And then he's going to say, okay, I want to go to this place and I want to have this. Okay, we will go to that place. Okay, just give mommy this much of time and then we will go. So being flexible is knowing that there's always an option for you. It's always an option, and you won't get it by throwing a tantrum. Okay, so plan another activity. So both of you are happy. You got your stuff done because you couldn't take your child out. And as teachers, maybe you planned a singing session with the kids, but you couldn't. So I think we're running out of time. So I have covered by building life skills, and I hope you will all do this with your students and with your children. Thank you for listening in and have a good day. Back to Anna. Or is it Amira?
I think, yeah.
Okay, lastly, thank you, Jenny and Gladys. So lastly, we do have some website suggestions of websites that you can get resources from. So all you have to do is just scan this. Maybe you can take a picture of it so you can refer to it in the future. So maybe one more minute of taking a picture of this. Okay, everyone all right? All right. Okay, so I'll pass it back to Anna. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. It's been, there's a lot of information. And I think we will share this whole webinar. It will be available on our Facebook as well. So don't forget to complete the survey. Deborah, over to you. And
yes,
we've got Q&As coming up quickly.
We have been live streaming already, so the video will be is already available on the DAS International website. I'm just about to share a screen, Amira, so I'm taking over, if that's okay. We love your feedback. So if you would like to help us out in providing feedback for us, we'd really appreciate it. I'll put the link into the chat for you to be able to copy and paste that as well. Also, DAS Academy has a number of courses that are available that you can use your Skills Future now. The latest one that's coming up is one where you could prepare your literacy lessons for children with SEN, which I think was an excellent opportunity for you. Okay, but anyway, if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them now, but I know it's over your lunchtime, so a lot of people probably will have wanted to take off and get back to work. But the ladies will be very happy to stick around and answer any of your questions if you have any. So, so if you do, otherwise,
Around another 5 minutes, yeah.
5 minutes, yeah. If you have any questions, I think it was a very engaging session. Thank you, ladies. Lots of cool ideas on how to help children moderate their feelings and being able to cope in class. Moving to the big school is always a big challenge. Got to have faith in them. I know, as a mum with 3 kids with learning differences, you know, getting that bag packed correctly. Things that they leave at home. Oh my goodness.
Some of the listening to what you all have shared, as an adult, I can relate to some of those that we still carry with us, that maybe we didn't practice enough. Or, you know, when we were young, we weren't trained at executive functioning type skills. And so it overflows into adulthood. So I think this topic really helps to, you know, just educate, and what is, you know, we can actually help the young ones with executive functioning. So it improves their lives and how they manage their lives when they're much older.
Yeah, definitely. I think in the beginning, I mentioned that when we learn about EF, we think about how we were back then. I should have mentioned right now as well. So whatever that we can do to help the children, we can also do for us, to train, for example, to train our memory, to train our flexibility, all those, you know, the activities have the same concept to it that can help us as well as adults.
Yeah, I particularly also liked the modeling. I think that's really powerful, because you see that reflected when I'm in the classroom with the teacher, and certain behavior, you know, it must be coming from the parents. what they're saying, you know, how they're behaving. So Janita's modeling, what you mentioned, is very powerful. Yeah. There's one question that I wanted that was asked is like, how do you control the impulse of a very active child? You know, can anyone share?
Maybe I'll start off. And Jenny and Gladys can share your experiences as well.
Yeah.
I do have one very hyperactive student. I think he's suspected ADHD. What I do actually in class is to help him focus on one stimulus. So for example, you know, he likes to play with things, and then, you know, boys especially, they like to imagine that, you know, the pencil and the eraser are fighting. So things like that they fiddle with, or they'll say something in the middle of my speech, my teaching. So what I do is to give them something to focus their attention on, that one stimuli. For example, I have my an exercise band on my chair. So he'll be like kicking his leg. So he can move his body. He can have movement while listening to me. So I find that very helpful. Another student of mine fiddles with blue tack, but that helps him to focus his attention. So sometimes us as teachers or parents, we think that, you know, they are being distracted by these little things, but conversely, it's actually helping them. So we have to see, you have to try and error and not immediately punish them. Yeah, that's what I have, one thing that I've done in my classroom. How about the rest?
I think as for me, in the kindergarten situation where you have 20 kids, it's best to keep them very short, as I've mentioned, maybe 15 minutes or maximum, 15 minutes on one activity and then move on to the next. And basically you're chasing them to do the work rather than, they are waiting for you. That's a very good trick for classroom managing, very young children. But when I went, get into sort of one-to-one situations, I think how to sort of not say take it away, but be aware of the child when you're with him or her, when you're teaching, actually to watch very carefully the body movements or even the eyes and stuff like that. So before you got to that situation, you actually switch, move on to a next topic or something so that it doesn't get into a big, issue. I think that I can recommend. How about you, Janita?
Mine is always reward based, and I always I always believe in modeling. So if the child is going to be disrupting the class, then my voice will always be the same, and low and in control. So he knows he has to come down to match mine and not above that. And he knows the school rules. I mean, the class rules is always a visual prompt on the wall. So if the child is driven by rewards or points, then that's the most powerful. So I work with rewards actually.
Okay.
And it has been successful.
There's a question we have here, which I'm not sure. Do you understand? If my child only has 8/10 of EF, does it mean he's not successful?
I think she means like out of the 10 aspects that we showed just
Oh,
now.
okay. Out of the
maybe,
different.
yeah,
Okay.
maybe
Yeah.
like 2 of them are quite poor or lacking. So does that mean that he will not be successful in life? Definitely not. Definitely not. I think the point of this sharing is to help in, or the point of talking about EF today is to talk about how it affects their daily routine, how they go about in their daily life, and as well as how they learn. So definitely something like poor class initiation will definitely affect how they perform in class, for example. So today we shared some strategies where you can help them manage those struggles, or train them towards success after struggling for some time. But if like, in my opinion, if they continually struggle, for example, in organization, they've always been messy with their things, or handwriting, you will never get them to write exactly as how you expect them. I feel like everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. It's just better to focus on what they are most strongest in, rather than putting them in a box and highlighting their weaknesses all the time. Like, why are you always messy? Why are you always messy? It will really push them down. It will really affect their self-esteem. So on one hand, we want to help them manage and go through their routine well. On the other hand, we don't have to make them their identity, make those struggles their identity. That's my response to that.
Thank you. Thank you, Amira. I think for the time right now, we need to close the webinar right now, right, Deb? So yes.
Thank you for your time, ladies.
Yes, thank you everyone, and for your feedback. If you have any questions, do get in touch, mail us. I think we are of the consensus. I think that the good news is executive functioning skills can be nurtured. We can nurture at least we try. We are doing our part as caregivers, parents, to nurture and develop them in young children. So, and I think we do this by providing opportunities for them to practice these skills as well. Not just telling them, but to practice the skills, right? That's how they learn, by doing. Then it's multisensory. All right, so, okay. Thank you everyone for today. And we'll see you again at our next webinar. We'll let everyone know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone.